Hello everybody, welcome back to F1 Manager 24, and this is the Japanese Grand Prix in Suzuka. Last time out in Australia, decent performance for Daniel Ricciardo. Ollie Bearman very much struggled, finishing 18th, picking up underfloor damage to his car as well. There's not really anything to go through in this episode. We are pretty much as we were last time, no more improvements on the car. I think Ollie Bearman may have some suspension. No, he's not got suspension ready just yet for his car. How is that coming along? Manufacturer suspension. Oh, he's got 1 day, so it probably will come on for the next, for the actual race, I guess, because we can probably set our race targets for Japan, which again will go middle of the road. We're not in a position where we need loads of money at the moment, but I think after practice that suspension may be able to go on Ollie Bearman's car. Okay, here we are for qualifying in Japan. 91% set up for Daniel Ricciardo, 90% for Ollie Bearman. Excellent stuff for both drivers. But I think anything above 90% is pretty good in that little mini game. So we are in a pretty good position with that. Now, with car parts, we're going to keep Daniel Ricciardo running these as they stand at the moment with the engine, the ERS and the gearbox. But we are going to start doing it with Ollie Bearman to say that, you know, engine number 1 is going to be his practice engine, and ERS number 1 or number 3 for some reason will be his practice stuff and things like that. So he is getting a full. We're trusting Ollie Bearman. We're trusting Ollie Bearman, right? We're going to give him his at least this second season to prove that he can drive this car, and as the car gets better, I think he'll get better as well. Obviously, we know we're behind the Ferraris, the McLarens, the Red Bulls. We probably are the 4th best team on the grid, which means we should be qualifying basically 7th and 8th, really. But yeah, it's always going to be a little bit tougher than just doing that, isn't it? Just doing what the stats tell you. It's not always about the stats. You've got to trust your drivers as well. But we should suit Suzuka. We have got a pretty fast car, to be honest, and I'm hoping that we can set some good lap times here. We do get Carlos Sainz at a good position. Daniel Ricciardo goes 1/10 slower than Leclerc, so that's not too bad. That Mercedes is off it. It's off the pace. It's very much off the pace, as Bearman then goes 3/10 slower than Leclerc. We're quicker than Lando Norris. Going to assume he caught some traffic, but yeah, it's going to be interesting. What makes it interesting though, wet race. A heavy wet race apparently is happening in Suzuka, and that causes me some concerns, to be honest. It's all about qualifying in a wet race. You need to get out of the big pack, out of the trouble, and just keep away from danger from the off, as Ollie Bearman found out in Australia, right? He didn't qualify brilliantly, got held up at a corner, couldn't recover, and ended up finishing 18th. I think we're going to be safe to go through, but we will go out on these used tyres just once more, just to make sure that we can set another time in there if needs be as the track gets better. So we're following Max Verstappen around with Daniel Ricciardo, which isn't too bad. Ollie Bearman's hit so much traffic, it's unbelievable. But yeah, there we go. Daniel Ricciardo secures P5. Ollie Bearman doesn't improve in P6. But as I said, I think there's a couple in here that will improve. Norris potentially might improve. We could be... Sergio Perez is out. Lewis Hamilton is out. What is happening? We finish 5th and 6th, but we lose Sergio Perez, George Russell and Lewis Hamilton in Q1. Wowzers. Okay. That is a shock. That is a big shock. Unbelievable stuff. Right. That's blown it wide open. That has blown it wide open. We've just got to get out of Q2 and then we have a chance in Q1 to qualify higher than we thought we would have done, to be honest. So let's get some other people out there to get some rubber down on the track. But yeah, it goes Ocon and Stroll. All these normal people going out. Tsunoda, Leclerc, Alonso. There goes Albon. There's Piastri, Iwasa. We'll go out with that group, I think. And then we'll just go into this little pocket of space here in front of Lance Stroll, who has finished his fast lap. So we'll catch Alex Albon with Daniel Ricciardo. So much traffic in Japan, isn't there, with different timings. Bearman 3 seconds off the pace because of traffic. Hopefully Daniel Ricciardo sets a better time. He does. He goes 3rd fastest, 4th fastest, because he just got overtaken by Charles Leclerc. But both drivers are going to have to go out again, especially Ollie Behrman. So we'll put that set of softs on again. He can go quicker. We know he can go quicker. Now, is there going to be a gap? We're going to try and time this right. I'm going to slow the pace down a little bit. Let's get Daniel Ricciardo on that set of softs again as well. So Verstappen is just coming in. Is he going to go out again, Max Verstappen? There goes Yuki Tsunoda at his home Grand Prix. Charles Leclerc. Let's follow Charles Leclerc out, I think. Daniel Ricciardo and Ollie Behrman both out on track. Following Charles Leclerc, although Ferrari in real life have their moments with strategy, you sort of feel like this isn't a bad idea to do. He's up in third. We are going to get overtaken by Alonso, who's on a quick lap. So if Ollie Behrman can hold him up in a corner, that would be quite nice. But yeah, this is make or break for Ollie Behrman, really. I think Daniel Ricciardo should be safe, although it does look like a lot of people hit some traffic in there. As Daniel Ricciardo now will get his fast lap going. Ollie Behrman will get his fast lap going as well. We're going to catch both of the Aston Martins, hopefully in decent positions, and they both got out the way relatively quickly. So Daniel Ricciardo's gone slower. Ollie Behrman's gone faster in Sector 1. Daniel Ricciardo, we're catching people on corners, which doesn't help. But Daniel Ricciardo goes quicker in Sector 2. Ollie Behrman goes quicker in Sector 2. Daniel Ricciardo stays 5th. Ollie Behrman, who is just coming around the final chicane, surely is going to improve. It's green sectors for him. He only improves to P14. Not the best for Ollie Behrman. All hopes are on Daniel Ricciardo again. But although Ollie Behrman is eliminated, he's not the biggest name. Max Verstappen did not get out of Q2 in the Red Bull. All of these times are so bad because of the traffic. But Daniel Ricciardo is in 5th. And I would say has a chance to qualify 4th here in Q3. This could be very, very good for Daniel Ricciardo. On that new set, we'll manage the session into Q3. Daniel Ricciardo has a chance. If we time it right, he's got a chance to get into a very good position. P2, P3, if the McLarens get it wrong. We're gonna wait. We're gonna do potentially a one and done here in Q3. Because Piastri starts their fast lap. Alonso starts his fast lap. Tsunoda just coming out for his out lap. So Lando Norris going around. Piastri's going to overtake Norris in a very good position. That's going to be a great lap from Piastri. He didn't have too much traffic in there. Stroll starts his fast lap. Tsunoda starts his fast lap. I've got my plan here. I've got my plan. And it's to go out there after Lando Norris. Because Piastri will come in. Stroll is on an in lap. All of those faster runners are coming in to change their tyres. This should give Daniel Ricciardo a free lap of completely free air. We've timed it right. Daniel Ricciardo will not be able to go quicker than this unless he got a massive tow from someone, but not too sure the tow's that powerful in Japan. As Daniel Ricciardo comes through, we've gone for a one and done strategy and he puts it 3rd at the moment.
That's a very good lap.
He puts it 3rd. It's all dependent on how everybody else does now. It's out of Daniel Ricciardo's hands. He's put a cracking lap in qualifying as the lap times are going to start coming in. He drops to 4th behind Alonso, but Piastri doesn't improve. Stroll doesn't improve. Ocon gets up to 6th. Daniel Ricciardo is starting 4th in a wet Grand Prix in Suzuka. Okay, the strategy looks odd. It looks like we are starting dry. Get onto the inters with heavy rain at the end of the Grand Prix. So we're going to have to manage this. But I don't think we can really mess around too much with what has been set for us here. We sort of just have to play it by ear. We're going to start on the softs. That does seem like the logical thing to do. But yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not confident about myself managing in wet races. Given it's going to be a wet race, we can probably take quite a lot of fuel out of the cars and give us a good little acceleration boost with a bit less weight. 4th and 15th, Ollie Behrman again very much struggling in at the start of a season. He came good at the end of last season, started picking up points as the car got better, but this is what we need. So changeable weather here in Suzuka. It's Ferrari, McLaren, Aston Martin, Brawn at the top of the leaderboard. Someone is on mediums in there. Wow, okay. Someone is on mediums. That very much surprises me. Maybe it's Yuki Tsunoda on his home Grand Prix. Maybe he used up all of his softs in qualifying. As someone gets forced wide, one of the Aston Martins is going to lose out on places there. Daniel Ricciardo up into, well, remaining in fourth. It was Lance Stroll that got pushed wide. But a fantastic start to the Suzuka Grand Prix. And you can see we are on board with Daniel Ricciardo, who is mega in confidence. He's really enjoying it. Ollie Behrman up into 16th. So, or down to 16th, he started 15th. He is now behind both the Red Bulls, which is such a weird thing to say. But that was Sergio Perez running wide. Ollie Behrman runs wide. Oh, Behrman, he's having a shocking start to this season, isn't he? He's having a shocking start to the season, Ollie Behrman. Lock up on turn 8. It was a cacophony of carnage back there. Because Perez had a little mistake, which I think put Ollie Behrman off as Perez rejoined the track. He managed to avoid any damage on the car, but does join at the back of the group. And now he's going to have to do something majestic to have any chance of scoring points. And once again, we are relying on Daniel Ricciardo to get Brawn out of some trouble here. As you can see, Lando Norris and Charles Leclerc absolutely pulling away from Fernando Alonso, as Daniel Ricciardo is going to try and go for the move here and see if he can get up into third, which he can get up into third place. Great driving from Daniel Ricciardo to get him up where we need him to be. So let's see if he can get away from Alonso and close that gap to Leclerc and Norris. I'm not too sure if he will. I think it'll be a tough ask for him. But yeah, we need we need Ollie Behrman to start pulling his finger out. Otherwise, he is going to be at risk of being replaced, to be honest. But it looks like Norris and Leclerc have got good pace and are just pulling away. We may need some DRS hopping with Fernando Alonso. Given that there's only one DRS zone, that could be quite tough, to be honest. Are they really pushing their tyres? Yeah, everyone was sort of pushing their tyres off the start. Poor Chair there with a bit of damage in 13th. But both Red Bulls down. They're going to be struggling, given that it's going to be a wet race later on. But yeah, 2 seconds. It does look like that the pace of Lando Norris and Charles Leclerc is just a bit too much for Daniel Ricciardo. So he's going to be in a bit of a battle with Fernando Alonso, you would imagine, who is right behind him. And there is a yellow flag as Ollie Behrman's locked up again. Ollie. For God's sake, man. They said there's been a crash. So Ollie Behrman trying to go up the inside of Pierre Gasly, weaving either side. He locks up. There's a bit of contact on the rear wheels. That might be a penalty for Ollie Behrman as well. Just to rub it in. Down in last. We're just going to have to run you in standard now, aren't we? But yeah, I mean, Ollie Behrman, I don't know why he's struggling so much. His driver rating has gone up loads. He's been good at the end of last season. He was picking up points here and there, but he's really not starting this season well. Gasly's picked up damage. I'm not too sure we're going to get a time. There hasn't been any notification of a time penalty for us on that one. Oh, there we go. Investigation. And it's been declared as no penalties. It's been declared as a racing incident as Daniel Ricciardo holds on to his third place position. And I've ran his battery a little bit too much there. A bit more than I thought I should. But yeah. He's 1.9 away from Charles Leclerc, or 2 seconds. Alonso's half a second behind Ricciardo. Piastri is nearly 7 tenths behind Alonso. So Daniel Ricciardo's doing a really good job at the moment. So the rain has started. So we're up to 0.02 millimeters. We'll keep an eye on that. Let's have a quick check to see if the weather, it might be coming a bit earlier than we imagined, to be honest. So we can push the tyres potentially. We're just going to have to manage it and see how it goes. But 0.8 to 1 millimeter is sort of the crossover point to go on to intermediates. And we'll have to see. Daniel Ricciardo gets past Fernando Alonso. I think he got that done just before the DRS. Look at the pace there of Oscar Piastri as he flies past Fernando Alonso. Daniel Ricciardo goes defensive on Oscar Piastri. The two Australians battling it out in Japan. And I think Oscar Piastri's going to have the pace, is he? Or is Daniel Ricciardo just going to keep ahead before the wet weather comes? Daniel Ricciardo trying on board it with Fernando Alonso, getting all the action. And Oscar Piastri just sneaks through past his fellow Australian and gets that one done. Rain up to 0.07. Ollie Behrman's locked up again. He's locked up again. Oh, Ollie. You're down to 44% tyres, mate. You're sticking out until the rain comes. Ollie Behrman is having an absolute shocker in Japan. You can see the spits of rain coming down. And Ollie Behrman just with no one around him. It's that same corner. Ollie, come on. Went a bit wide. I mean, that's an understatement, isn't it? Jesus Christ. As Alonso is still watching the battle of Piastri and Ricciardo happening in front of him. Rain is coming. The skies are getting darker. This could be interesting. Wow. Okay, people are starting to pit in 0.5 millimeters, and Alonso, Piastri and Leclerc are all in. Leclerc going on to the inters. Nearly hit Alonso there, or Piastri coming through. Lots of drivers pitting. This seems too early. It seems too early, if you ask me. It really does. Lando Norris 4 seconds ahead. Lots of drivers coming in. Maybe they know something we don't, but I sort of feel like that is far too early. Where is Ollie Behrman? He's gone past the pit lane, so Ollie Behrman will be staying out. Is it this lap? Where's Daniel Ricciardo? It will be this lap for Daniel Ricciardo. On to the intermediates. So let's go while we can. A 134, 136, 134.9. We're actually lapping faster than Lando Norris, who's in the lead of the race. But we can't afford to be left out when everyone's going to inters for that change. I think we're going to time this pretty well. Ollie Behrman is so far behind Daniel Ricciardo that he can come in on the same lap, to be honest. That's not a problem. But yeah, look at that. Look at Ollie Behrman's map where he's been locking up. What an idiot. Right. Come on then. We need a good stop here. We need a good stop from the Ultras. We need a very, very good stop from the Ultras. There's me watching work the space and calling them the pit stop Ultras. That's going to happen now. I mean, Ollie Behrman's up into 12th because everyone's pitted. So here we go then. Daniel Ricciardo will follow Lando Norris into the pits. Daniel in the pit lane. The crossover now is 0.9. So we haven't done too long on those tyres. Stroll pits in as well. Daniel Ricciardo onto the inters. It's a 2-second stop. That is exactly what we needed. Exactly what we needed. We have actually caught up slightly to Lando Norris on that as well. Charles Leclerc is coming down the start-finish straight now. Are we going to get out just in front of him? No, but we have gained positions. We have timed that perfectly with Daniel Ricciardo. And now we just let him do his thing. We'll put him on conserve fuel. Ollie Behrman is also in the pit. So we'll follow his pit stop as well and see how he gets on. But Daniel Ricciardo up into net P3 of this one. It's a 2-second stop for Ollie Behrman as well. That is brilliant. That is some good work from the pit crew there. Lovely, lovely stuff. And we are 2 seconds off Charles Leclerc. But we are not... Oh, that's off the leader, sorry. We are 1.4 seconds off Charles Leclerc. We are 7 seconds ahead of Oscar Piastri. Staying out for one more lap has really, really helped us there. It's done a really good job for Daniel Ricciardo. So hopefully we can get the most out of these intermediates. And then we can push onto the wets as well when it goes full wet. But at the moment, it's a podium for Daniel Ricciardo. That McLaren is an absolute rocket ship. Piastri has completely left Alonso for dead. He's now 2.3 seconds behind us. That's us in front. And Norris has just accelerated away from Charles Leclerc. Like, unbelievable driving and speed in that McLaren. Really, really good stuff from them. But Daniel Ricciardo is still in third. I think Piastri is going to catch him at some point. But... yeah, I mean, a great drive from both Australians at the moment, Ricciardo and Piastri. Norris out in front. Charles Leclerc having a good drive in that Ferrari, which I mentioned last time it's got a new livery. I didn't really show it off to you, but there it is. This is the 2024 livery in real life that we've ported into the game, which is absolutely awesome. We could probably use this opportunity just to admire the liveries that the mods have done such a good job with, and all the editors. bringing them in. Really good stuff. That's the McLaren, as I said, from the 2024 Singapore race. I've put it in for the whole season this year. We've also got George Russell here in his new look Mercedes, which again is their 2024 livery in real life. He's struggling in that livery though. Bless him. He's not having the best of times. And then we've got the Alpine as well, which is looking rather tasty. I do like that Alpine. It is looking very, very nice. Oh, and we've come just as Ollie Behrman's getting a move done. Go on, Ollie. Go on, Ollie. There we go. Lovely stuff. The track condition has changed to dry. Wow, that's unexpected. Okay. That is unexpected. 0.9. I can only assume it's still going to be wet, though. You don't want to go back to softs, do you? It's going to stay. There's 90% rain coming, so we're not going to change. We're not going to pit or anything like that. But, well, Behrman isn't last. With all of his lockups and all of his issues, he's got up to 21st. Well done, Ollie Behrman. Daniel Ricciardo, though, doing really well. Seems to be maintaining a bit of a gap now to Oscar Piastri, which is good. So we have a yellow flag. Ollie Behrman has run wide again. Ollie, seriously, mate, I'm not watching it. I'm not watching it. We are at 2.9 millimeters, though, so we are getting it very close to being on full wets a lot earlier than was predicted, I feel. Full wets, I think, is what, 1 to 4 millimeters? If I remember rightly. I can't remember where I see that. Where is it? Where is it? Water's 3.04. Very wet tracks go onto that. So where I can't remember where we see it. Track details, that's it, isn't it? Moderate rain, light rain coming, very low. Damp, wet track in 3 minutes. It's going to get very, very wet. Then damp again, and then wet at the end. Maybe we risk it with Ollie Behrman. Maybe we say with Ollie Behrman he can go on to full wets, then inters, and he can do the full shebang of everything to match the perfect conditions. But I think Daniel Ricciardo, we've just got to try and match whatever Norris does. There's enough of a gap. We've got 8 seconds to judge and see what Lando does. We're just going to match him, I think. So it has changed to fully wet conditions. And, well, Ollie Behrman's going to be a happy man because he's going to be coming in for the wet tyre. He's going to be doing as many pit stops as it needs to match track conditions because he's having a very shit race anyway. As Iwasa and Hauger come in front as well, probably going on to full wets. So I wonder if Lando Norris will pit. I wonder if he will pit. How many laps is it that we're saying? It's about 5 laps. I don't think it's worth it, to be honest. As Ollie Behrman's in for a 2.1 second stop. Has he jumped anyone? He's jumped Hauger, I think. He has jumped Hauger. He didn't quite jump Iwasa, but Behrman in for the wet tyres. He'll be our guinea pig. As Lando Norris is coming round into the final section here. Is he going to pit? Lando Norris does not pit. Lando Norris stays out. Charles Leclerc stays out. Daniel Ricciardo will stay out. And Oscar Piastri is staying out as well. So it looks like only the back runners are putting on the full wets. It is Iwasa, Behrman and Hauger who are going to try it. Piastri closing the gap on his compatriot. But as I said, Oscar Piastri's in a faster car, so I'm not worried if he overtakes us. It's more I'm worried about keeping that gap to Alonso. But how do we... I'm going to tell Daniel, don't be as aggressive in these conditions. I don't think there's a need to. We just need to sort of manage the tyres and keep them out. We can run them a little bit aggressively to try and keep the tyre temperatures up. We're going to have to run these a very aggressive to get the tyre up in there. Let's give him a bit of deploy as well. See what he can do. Let's get ERS Battle Assist on just for when Oscar Piastri turns up, which he has here. And there we go. Those tyres are back in temperature range, which is what we need. How is... is Ollie Behrman done a lap? No, not yet. We'll come back and judge lap times in a minute. Just want to see how quick Ollie Behrman is on those wets compared to Daniel Ricciardo. So the wet tyre runners, Ollie Behrman did a 143, but we were pushing him for the whole lap. But he's done a 144, let's call it, which is the average. We're doing a 149. So those wet tyres in these conditions are very, very much faster. I still think it was the right idea to stay out with Daniel Ricciardo, because if we pit, we're what, 11 seconds off the leader, so add 20. I mean, we would still come out in 5th, but we'd be so far away, and it was only 5 laps of this sort of conditions. I don't think it really made sense. Look how much quicker. I mean, Ollie Behrman may make up some time here. He may make up some positions. He's got a long way to go to catch Iwasa, but yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? It's interesting. Oscar Piastri can't make the pass, by the way, on Daniel Ricciardo, which is good for Daniel Ricciardo. But yeah, you can see drivers going pretty slow, given that it's not the ultimate conditions that we want. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting race. Surely is going to be an interesting race. We need to see if that is going to come back down, or keep an eye on anyone else pitting. I'll tell you what, Ollie Behrman is enjoying these wet tyres in the right conditions. He's passed 2 other drivers. He's passed Sainz and he's passed Lawson, and he's catching up to Théo Pourchaire. Okay, the track has changed back to damp, so now everybody is sort of in a better place with their current tyres. Ollie Behrman, obviously, on the wet tyre, is now going to start feeling some pain. It's going to be inters for quite a while, so you sort of feel like, unfortunately for Ollie Behrman, he is going to have to come in and go to a fresh set of intermediate tyres. So, as I said, we're just using him as a sort of run to say, what can you do, son? What can you do on the right set of tyres? And he's shown he's a good driver. He's got back up to 15th, but the pit stop will be bringing him back down to reality in around the bottom 3, I think. But yeah, not a bad drive from Ollie Behrman. He's certainly improved. He couldn't have got much worse throughout the race, could he? As Daniel Ricciardo still holding off Oscar Piastri. It'll be interesting to see what happens here. I'm hoping our weather centre is correct and that the rain doesn't jump up above 4 millimetres again. Otherwise, Behrman's in a world of pain. Well, when it's not your day, it's not your day. Ollie Behrman does an extra pit stop and has an issue, which gives him a 4-second stop. Unlucky, Ollie. So Daniel Ricciardo held Oscar Piastri back for quite a while, but finally the younger Australian does get through a great move up the inside of Daniel Ricciardo in the rain, and that puts Daniel Ricciardo into 4th. Okay, so interestingly, we've got a yellow flag out as someone does something, but Oscar Piastri has pitted for full wets already, which is so odd. It's so odd. He's now on the wrong tyre for the conditions. I don't understand it. Yes, full wets are going to be needed later on, but he's going to lose so much time on those tyres now. Is Norris going to come in on this lap? That's interesting, because I wonder if they... No, see, Norris doesn't pit. Piastri's gone on to the full wets too early. Far too early. 15 laps to go. Lando Norris pits. It is not full wet condition yet. Daniel Ricciardo stays out. The rain is coming down fast and heavy. I think we need to make this lap count while we're in the better tyre condition than Lando Norris. As you can see, everyone is now pitted. Lando Norris is there. I sort of feel like we do have to make the move. We've got a lot of the lap to go. Let's get onto those full wets. It's earlier than predicted. I just don't know. I don't know if it's the right time to do it. We need to stay ahead of Alonso, and he is currently pitting. But it's 3.38. It's still not 4. Lando Norris is gaining on us. I think that's purely just because of his fresh tyres rather than anything else. But we could technically hold Lando up a little bit here and make it hard work for him. Although it looks like he's just going to squeeze past us. I know the rain is really hammering it down, but the track condition is still inters, not wets. It is still inters and not wet tyres. Although Lando Norris has just got past on his fresh tyres. I guess the thing is here, do we... Leclerc is in. We can't be the people not pitting if everybody is pitting onto the wets. That's the problem we've got at the moment. We should have a big enough gap to Piastri and Alonso, to be honest. Maybe Piastri will catch us. But this is a dramatic race. It really is a dramatic race, this one. So Leclerc is in. He's had his stop. He gets onto his full wets. .3. It's not bad. It's not bad. Here comes Piastri. I think he is just going to get us. I think, yeah, he's just going to get us there. But Alonso, we should have enough of a gap that Alonso doesn't quite get us. So Daniel Ricciardo, but Piastri is absolutely knackered those wets, full wets. 78% already. Okay, so we are 7 seconds off Leclerc, who's 15 seconds behind Piastri, but we do have much better tyres. This is going to be very interesting. Let's push them to get some temperature into them. Ollie Behrman's going to stay out until that hits 4, basically. That's what we're going to go with. But a fully wet end to the race in Japan. Daniel Ricciardo, I think, still challenging for third. We'll see how it goes. But, yeah, let's just give it everything we've got, really. Okay, tyres are definitely coming into this. Charles Leclerc has overtaken Oscar Piastri, and we've closed the gap to 8 seconds. I think Oscar went onto those tyres far too early, and it's not over. 10 laps to go. We've got 8 seconds to make up to get a podium here. Ollie Behrman's actually done pretty well. He's in 19th, so he's really having a decent comeback, let's call it, given that he's locked up so many times and been bottom. But, yeah, 10 laps to go. Our focus is Daniel Ricciardo. So, Théo Pourchaire in the Mercedes has had an incident here. He's following one of the Alpines very closely, locks up, and then just goes straight on into the wall. Does clip it ever so slightly, but he will be coming out back of the race grid. The track condition has changed back to damp, people. It has been all over the place in this race. Daniel Ricciardo up into 4th. He's closed the gap to 5 seconds, but I don't think it's going to be enough. Especially with the changing weather conditions. Oscar Piastri, it looks like your top 3 are going to be Norris, Leclerc and Piastri. A great drive from Danny Rick. He's just got to bring this car home to the end of the Grand Prix as he catches up with Théo Pourchaire, who we just saw have that incident. But, yeah, it's gone back to damp. We're not going to give Ollie Behrman yet another pit stop because he's actually climbed up to 16th, which is pretty decent for him. But, it's looking good for Daniel Ricciardo. 4.9. I think if we had 5 more laps to go from here, I'd be confident of getting Oscar Piastri. But again, I guess Piastri's tyres are going to drop off quite a bit. They are going to drop off quite a bit. So we'll have to keep an eye on it. Who knows? If Théo Pourchaire gets out of the way, that would be absolutely lovely. Thank you. There we go. So we're on the final lap of the Grand Prix. I need to just make sure Daniel Ricciardo doesn't run out of fuel. That would be embarrassing. But, yeah, on to the final lap. And he has had a great race. 4.6, we got the gap down to Piastri. Yeah, I think a few more laps and potentially we would have had a chance. But it hasn't worked out that way at the moment. So we'll get him on deploy. We'll take off the battle assist because he doesn't need it. And he can just bring this car home in 4th. A 16-second gap to Fernando Alonso behind him. Daniel Ricciardo has raced this absolutely superbly well. But it is going to be Lando Norris to win the Japanese Grand Prix in that superb McLaren car. It is an absolute rocket ship. So Lando Norris wins. It's going to be Charles Leclerc in 2nd place, which is a very good achievement for the Monegasque driver in that Ferrari. So here comes Charles Leclerc getting the car over the line. 3 seconds after him will be Oscar Piastri crossing the line, and then 4.8 seconds after one Australian is another Australian as Daniel Ricciardo takes home 4th. Clap him in. He's done a really good job there, Daniel Ricciardo. And Oliver Behrman's got 15th, which, given the amount of lockups and given the amount of incidents, that's not too bad for Ollie Behrman. Ollie Behrman has shown at the end of this race he has got some ability. He has got some ability. But there we go. Suzuka, done. Big point haul for Ricciardo. Love it. So Lando Norris wins it and gets the best lap. It's a maximum 26 points for him. Charles Leclerc actually dropped a place but finished 2nd. Oscar Piastri up 4 to finish 3rd. Daniel Ricciardo finished where he qualified in 4th. So just so qualifying is crucial in wet weather races. Max Verstappen up 8, did really well. Sergio Perez up 9. Ollie Behrman actually finished where he qualified. So all in all, a decent race. He recovered from 22nd 3 times in that race, so not too bad. Daniel Ricciardo is up to 5th in the drivers. He goes up 2 places, which is lovely. In the constructors, we still stay in 4th with a 1-point gap. Oh no, we dropped down. Sorry, behind Aston Martin. 1 point behind Aston Martin at the moment. And in the pit stops, there we go. The 2 fastest pit stops. We will be winning the pit stop competition this year. I guarantee it. So we get both bonuses paid out as well, because Daniel Ricciardo finished 4th, which is higher than 11th, and Ollie Behrman finished 15th, which is what he needed. So a cool £1 million or $1 million into the bank as well. We now have a bigger break until we head to China for the next leg of our Asia tour of this season. But yeah, Daniel Ricciardo having a really good time of it. Ollie Behrman just needs to step up that little bit more, doesn't he? He just needs to step up that little bit more and make that happen. So China is next. We have got, 1 week off. We've got a few things coming in for designs. We've got basically 2 weeks off, and then we head to China for the next step of the Asia Grand Prix. So let's just continue forward a little bit more, as we're going to have some designs ready to be manufactured. So rear wing number 3, it's going to take 12. We've got 24 days. We might as well whack out 6 of them. Because we are absolutely loaded at the moment, which is nice. We do now have suspension number 2 that can go on Ollie Behrman's car, which will give him a bit better performance, to be honest. And yeah, the rear wing design is complete. So we've got that done. Facilities are going to be upgraded. More design is going to be completed, as the hospitality area is now upgraded for a bit more team marketability, which is good. Give us a bit more income through sponsors. The design for our chassis is now complete as well. So let's get, we've got 21 days. So we'll get 3 of them done, but 2 of them will be ready in time for the Chinese Grand Prix, which is absolutely good. And then we've got another design being complete as well. Luckily, our suspension has just been finished, which means that frees up a manufacturing slot for whatever this. Oh, Hussein goes up to 89 as well, Mattibelli. And our side pods are done as well. So lots of upgrades coming. Again, we can get 2 of them done in time for China. Lots of upgrades come in on the car for China, which is very, very exciting. Right, we'll leave it there. Thank you so much for watching. We'll catch you in the next one for the Chinese Grand Prix. If you're enjoying the series, leave a like. It's the best way to show you want it to continue. But for now, I'll see you in the next one. Cheers. Just as Power Rivera goes up to an 81. Lovely.